Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's Damon yet again. Rumors of basically, well, I don't think there'd be any rumors based on this, but they were still probably were, and they were greatly exaggerated. I basically was busy over the last week because it's like basically the final weeks of the school year. So yeah, that's also explains this, and yeah, so that explains why I was very busy. But now it's soon upon to be the summer, so we know where, yeah. So, so that allows me to, to decompress a bit more, and also to do a bit more of a rebooking. I'm still in the rebooking period of. I know I've already done a bit more than half of the rebooking WrestleMania Tonight series, and now was at WrestleMania 23, all grown up. And starting from WrestleMania 20, I'm also going to book the Hall of Fame class. I'm going to tell you who would headline WrestleMania 23, and that would be none other than the late great Macho Man Randy Savage. I felt like he should have gotten an induction when he was still there. And what better way to commemorate the legacy of Macho Man Randy Savage than after 20 years after his legendary match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat? And who would present this? You could have Lonnie Poffo, the Poffos, and you would still have a face-off because Steamboat was at WrestleMania 27, a backstage segment. You could have a backstage segment with Savage and Steamboat. And yeah, I thought it would have been a great moment coming. You also have Dusty Rhodes, Mr. Perfect, Jerry Lawler, JR, The Sheik, Mr. Fuji, the Wild Samoans, Nick Buckwinkle. They would all be on the Hall of Fame that year. Trying to see if I had it somebody else. Um, Oh yeah, on that WrestleMania, not WrestleMania last year, but at WrestleMania there'd be the immortal moment, Hogan versus Andre, because it's 20 years later, and Hogan would be there. So, and Hogan will also play a role in WrestleMania that year, so I felt like why not? One plus one equals two. Take that, Brock Lesnar. And now we're going to the actual card. Six per night, and I wanted basically to. I've noticed basically in on the WrestleMania card itself, like the tag titles were not on the line, and I want to rectify this. Like, look at the WrestleMania 23 card. Very good. But how many titles were in the line? There were the WWE title, the World title, the US title, and the Women's titles. That's it. No IC title online, no no tag titles online, no cruiserweight title match. I would make sure that just about every title is defended. Now, there would be a 23-man battle royal at WrestleMania, and the winner basically goes on to face Umaga for the IC title later on that night. It will be co-won by Boyd Carlito and Nature Boy Ric Flair. So it'd be a triple threat match. Then in the Money in the Bank match, we'd have CM Punk facing Mr. Kennedy, facing uh, facing Jeff Hardy, facing Matt Hardy, facing Finlay, facing Shelton Benjamin, facing John Morrison, and facing who was the other person? Hardcore Holly. That's right, Hardcore Holly will be in there because he's got an idea, and except his idea will let him for it's not gonna be Hardcore Holly winning. Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy will not win. CM Punk will not win. Finlay neither. Now it's between John Morrison, CM Punk, or Shelton. And Shelton will be near but wouldn't win. So it's between CM Punk and John Morrison. I would have John Morrison win rather than Kennedy, because Kennedy it led up to nothing. So why not have John Morrison win this one? Now, other matches we got in the same card. You would have sorry, I'm just looking at the crowd. Sorry, at the card. You would have for the women's title, Mickey James defends against Melina Perez, and this is where Melina Perez wins the women's title in a lumberjill match. Let me turn match on the card. Fourth match on the card. You have the IC title match between Umaga, Carlito, and Ric Flair. And I would have basically Carlito and Flair kind of cancel each other out. Basically, like Ric Flair deliver basically as the figure four and Carlito. Umaga use that pointy to do basically a leaping someone spike on Flair and pins him. And the reason why he pinned is at the same time he's pinning him while he has a figure four on Carlito, so he can't move his legs. So that'd be a way to get around it. Then you would have Edge versus Randy Orton. RKO explodes. Rated RKO explodes, and I would have it'd be a very back and forth. I would have Randy Orton teasing kind of a face-ish turn because he'd be kind of more of a face during that time. But in the end, Edge would win after two spears don't work. He does a third spear and does his execution DDT. I would bring him back, basically make sure that Edge will basically readopt the execution DDT as a main finisher and wins the match and keeps his WrestleMania streak alive. Then, for the Cruiserweight title, you would have Chavo Guerrero versus Jimmy Wang Yang versus Gregory Helms versus who else was there? Paul London? I don't remember. But in the end, would have Gregory Helms regain this Cruiserweight title. And the main event of this WrestleMania Night 1 would be Batista versus The Undertaker. And since it stole the show in real life, I would have the exact same match here. Undertaker ends WrestleMania 23 Night 1 by winning the world title for the very first time. He won the Rumble, make him win the WrestleMania match. That's Night 1. Let's go to Night 2. Night 2, the very first match with Chris Benoit against MVP. I forgot to mention in the honorable mention in terms of best WrestleMania entrance, how awesome MVP's WrestleMania 23's entrance was. And it was a match that was actually peculiar because it actually ended at exactly 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 0 seconds. And it was a pretty good match, but knowing the circumstance that we know now, especially since Benoit lost the US title anyway to MVP like 1 or 2 months later, why not do it now? That's what I would do. I would have MVP win the US title on that night at WrestleMania 23 because that's when it counts. In the second match of the evening, you have Kane versus King Booker. And in that case, I love King Booker and I love Kane there. I would have Kane lose to Booker T at No Way Out 2007, but he would get his revenge back in a no holds barred match against King Booker at WrestleMania 23. Then you would have for the ECW title, Bobby Lashley taking on Rob Van Dam. Bobby Lashley would be seen basically since people already were crappy in the way he won the title December to Dismember. He become a bit more eelish all the time, and basically rather than Vince McMahon feuding with Bobby Lashley, you would have Vince McMahon aligning with Bobby Lashley, basically saying that's what I want the new ECW to be. RVD though would be what the fans want to associate with this, and it would lead to a feud basically in leading on to WrestleMania. Could have RVD win a tournament for the number one contendership for the ECW title, and he goes on to WrestleMania, and it takes. I'm not going to abuse in terms of finishers. It's going to take him two, not seven, two 5-star frog splash to beat Lashley and win the ECW title for a second time. Give him a WrestleMania moment, and this time it'd be his last world title run. I would give RVD maybe learn on a US title reign, but that would be it in terms of title reigns. But I felt like why not give him that title reign at WrestleMania? It's ECW title. It's like the tertiary world title in WWE, so why not? So, and let's be honest, WWE even during one night stand, they can say what they could say that hey, we told you that he wouldn't be reliable. Yeah, because you waited so long for him. It's like at this point, I bet you RV didn't care as much to be world champion anymore. So that's the thing. Sometimes WWE will push somebody afterwards. They'll do the same thing in the Oscars. They give the Oscars somebody years way later they should have won it. To the point I think the recipient doesn't care anymore. They moved on their minds. Like, okay, cool. It doesn't define me anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if RVD was the same thing. But anyway, RVD wins the US title, the ECW title at WrestleMania 23 in my bookie. Then you would have the Millionaires match, the Great Khali with the McMahons versus Hulk Hogan versus Donald Trump. Versus Hulk Hogan with Donald Trump with Austin the referee. Hogan wins. It's a like 8-minute match. Austin the referee, and he ends up stunning everybody, Hogan included. So it's win-win for everybody. It wouldn't be too long, but it'd be a spectacle, which is what it's supposed to be. Then, in the penultimate match, you do have a 10-man tag team match in ECW. ECW Originals, which is the new breed, and by ECW Original, it'd be led by Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, Sabu, Stevie Richards. I was agonizing between him in that match or in the Money in the Bank match, but Stevie Richards deserved a hell of better, and he deserved a WrestleMania match. And he'd be at least a fourth man in that team. And then there would be Balls Mahoney taking on the new breed, which is Matt Striker, Kevin Thorne, Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvan, aka Monty Brown, and Mike Knox. In the end, they win. And I was struggling who's gonna get the cover, and I was talking about Stevie Richards. Stevie Richards gets the win with his double that is leaping double underhook DET on Mike Striker. And in the main event, you have the two World Tag Team Champions together. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I forgot the WB Tag Title. I know they did what WWE does. WWE Tag Titles will be on the line when Paul London and Brian Kendrick they defend the tag titles against who was in the tag team division there? Against William Regal and Paul Burchill. Well, could be that. Lundrick retains. Okay. And then WWE title match. John Cena, World Tag Team Champions as well, defends against Shawn Michaels, WWE World Tag Team Champions as well. And I felt like there was any time to give Shawn Michaels the WWE title when he came back. It was tonight. It was that night. He won the match, the Iron Man match, or the 60-minute match at uh, on Raw anyway. And if Shawn didn't want to be champion, to me, I don't care. Nobody said you had to be champion for 3 months, but that was a time where I felt like people were really inside. They were starting to get backlash on Cena, and I felt like giving him a 1 month break as champion could have helped. Like, give Shawn Michaels one last title reign. Like, the first time was like his comeback. It's like, am I ready to be champion? Now it's like, his character's like, yeah, I am. I'm that good. It's like, for 1 month, you get the Shawn Michaels that you want him as champion. The Shawn Michaels of 1996. Minus the politics, brother. He wins the title, and you end WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels, WWE champion. So that's how I would have booked WrestleMania 23. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm just about to rebook WrestleMania 24 now. See you guys.